But these are next generation packaging techniques for the modern workplace. So I just wanted to show real quick native, what it looks like before Shane comes around and does the aggregation, right? So we got, for those of you that aren't familiar, this is the AVD native interface, right? Remote desktop, Citrix here. I can't show my CWA app just because I have app protection on, so it blanks it all out. It just shows a blank screen for where that's at. So I'm in the web here. But essentially, if you're either going to be familiar with one or the other or both of the native experience of getting into these. And so I'm going to go into these, from start to finish. We're not reconnecting anything. We've got a screaming fast, pretty good. I'm pretty proud of it. We got 12 to 17 second logons for what we're doing here. I'm going to go into each one of our environments individually, just to show that experience, and then it'll really pull it together when Shane, shows the aggregation for the two at the end. So I'm going to do this one first, and then I'll do the AVD one for you. It's starting up on the second screen here. It's going to pop in, and then I'm going to go into the AVD one here in just a second. So yeah, as you're waiting, yeah. So here you'll notice we got WEM in here. We got our cool splash screen. WEM's going to do it. It's going to kick off. We're going to acquire our NVIDIA license. It's also going to kick off some of the turbo bits of the logon script for me there, and pop us into our Win10 21H2 desktop. Just to show you a little bit on that front, what we're looking at down here. We got the graphic the graphic status. I'm running H265 for all the GPU goodness there. Quick show you some of the bits on the machine here, right? Everything that goes into this, of course. I want to show the remote display analyzer for those of you that are familiar with that tool. It'll give an overall look of what we're looking at from a desktop standpoint.
You'll notice the name of the desktop is SEAL Team 7. I don't know if there's any Amazon Prime or terminal list.
Dan Feller has, had Chuck Norris. We have John Reese.
That's right. James Reese, baby, from Terminal List. I don't know if anyone's watching that series. Jack Carr's 5-part series, man. It's awesome. Been stuck in the books.
Yep.
Finished book 3, but it's on Terminal List on Amazon. So you might see some references through the presentation.
Indeed. So you'll see all the goodness over here with Remote Display Analyzer showing all the sweet, stats for what we got going on for our desktop. Here is all of my turboed in apps, right? So these are, as you can see, I got IE 6, 8, 11. I got all of them side by side. It's you can run them all and see like how old school that they're going to look. Pops in IE8. So those ones where you might have one app. Let me get rid of this. You might have one app that you need, IE8 for, or, God forbid, nobody's doing IE6, but I just threw it in because it was kind of cool. IE6 and the oldest school look of that. All of these are containerized apps that aren't on my operating system, which is part of the reason it can be so fast. Everything's clean. With the new 22.9 bits, they even got Office to where we can do Office, but this time, before the latest build that I just put on here, Office was part of the OS, and that's it. Everything else is like NVIDIA drivers, the VDA, what have you. The standard stuff, all the various apps, and I can go on and on and on with this that I've included. I've got as containers, and they're not VHDs that are being bolted on, they're being streamed in. It has a proprietary system of what they call an SVM. That it sits in a sandbox, persists across for you. It's pretty cool what they're doing on the backside for that virtualization piece for the applications. But these just sit there and they do their thing within the desktop, right? So I'm going to start exiting out some of these as we go, and then what I'm going to show as well is I want to show real quick an unsubscribe. So I've got a couple things here that I want to show just real fast. So this here, just a quick one for me to basically take these off of the image. As you see, they're gone, right? They're out of the start menu. It takes any bit of it. Nothing's ever, you can't see it from like program files, all that stuff standpoint, but it does have merge and isolation capabilities. So I can do full isolation on some parts of it. I can do merge on others, but as you can see, all of those are gone. So then I'm back to just what my base image was, which is essentially nothing but Office. And even now, like I said, this can be containerized. So that's kind of cool as far as that goes. And then, I'll do a full log out. Logs me out. Like, again, we have WEM kicking off our like resubscribe commands and whatnot from that standpoint. So it's as easy as going and doing a refresh here just to show off, how I can throw those back in there. Kudos to Ellie for our demo center.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ellie. That's pretty awesome.
It processes it as an external task. If you're familiar with WEM, there's a lot of stuff that WEM can do. WEM does this as an external task where I just have a little batch file. It goes through and does what I need it to do in this, and then boom, they're right back, right? So in this standpoint, I threw them all back on there. I'm republished back to what I needed in my image. I've kept everything clean. These could be super old, new, got compatibility, SLAs going forward, doesn't matter, right? Going over to AVD real quick. I'm gonna launch that one. I'm gonna go full screen, I think. All right, it's prompting me from the login. Just give me a second. I do not have MFA on these test accounts.
You logging into the Azure desktop?
Yeah, I'm gonna log into the Azure desktop.
Time flies, man. We only got 8 minutes left. How'd that happen?
Well, maybe I won't. All right, so yeah.
Anyways. Well, I mean, it's good to show, I guess. Just it takes 2 seconds just to log in, just to kind of show it's streamlined. Because we're gonna show just log in real quick. Because on the AVD side, so Citrix offers what's called an AVD optimization pack now. And so essentially, if you were an AVD customer, you can, for a small fee, I think it's like a few bucks a user or whatever it is, you can get it right through the Azure Marketplace. You can actually run Citrix WEM native on AVD, right? Just requires a cloud connector out there in that region. And now you can have the same management policies across the board from Citrix to AVD. And so that's what he was basically just going to show, is logging into that desktop, seeing the turbo apps as well as the experience kind of coming together, with the WEM piece, which is kind of neat. Yeah. In our demo environment, we use Nerdio from a management perspective. So we had everything kind of provisioned with Nerdio. And we do that for a lot of our enterprise customers. Just kind of
essentially just to show the uniform capability of AVD over to Workspace. Boom, boom. I'm gonna have the same stuff over in the AVD side of things, the same turbo apps. I'm not going to go through all that, but it's actually essentially I could do the exact same thing on this one that I could do on the previous one, is what I want to show. So the experience is the same. I can do the same things, right? So it's pretty cool from that sense. So that's the native login. So I'll stop my share.